Hello and welcome to another episode of Transcontinental Overload. I'm Stephanie, your host, back in Austin. At least physically, but mentally, I think I'm still in the mountains of Colorado. And I'm actually already planning another trip. The typical post-holiday, post-vacation blues. And of course now we're back to normal. Well, we are. Texas, not so much. It's actually not looking that great as far as the coronavirus is concerned. And to add insult to injury, our rivers and creeks are full of toxic algae. That means they're deadly to dogs. And the mosquitoes in central Austin have just been found to carry the West Nile virus. Yay! Anyway, let's talk about nice things, nicer things, happier times. Such as this episode, which was actually recorded back in March, early March, just before the coronavirus turned our world upside down. My guest today is Jacqueline Jeffries, an old friend of mine from California, from our California days. She's originally from England, and I met her just after we'd moved to California 10.5 years ago. We met through a neighbor of mine, and two of Jacqueline's 3 children were at the same elementary school as my oldest one. And if I remember correctly, Jacqueline was the PTA president at the time. So she was one of those people with a lot of connections and the perfect contact for me in those early days. Jacqueline and I stayed in touch over the years, and we actually have quite a few parallels in our lives and a lot of shared experiences. Just like myself, she moved back to the UK for a while, but then came back to the US, and that's where she is now. She lives in Connecticut with her husband and her youngest son, while her 2 oldest children are at university in the UK. At least that's where they were when we recorded this episode. But when I checked in with her last week to tell her that I had finally got my act together and was in the middle of editing this episode, she told me that they were all here in the US. So they were all together waiting to see what was going to happen with the universities in the UK, because at this point things are still pretty much up in the air. So yeah, we compare notes and reminisce a little bit about California, and we talk a lot about roots and how important roots are, especially for our children, and how to create stability when your location keeps changing. And we also discuss friendships and how hard it is to maintain friendships over distance and over the years, and how hard it is, and even harder to make new friends as we get older, and how much we as expats appreciate those friendships that have accompanied us through all our journeys, and those friends who are still with us and part of our lives. The topic of friendship is always a big one in the expat world, and I find that that's especially true in times like these, when it's so hard to see people in person. So if any of my friends are listening to this, I miss you. I wish I could see you in person. But I know you're there, and I'm so grateful for that. You know who you are. And now, let's hear Jacqueline's story. Hello, Jacqueline. It's so nice to be with you. It's been quite a while since we saw each other last.
It has. I think the last time we saw each other was at the last book club before I left.
Oh my goodness!
And I think was it Beth's house, or was it Kavita's house?
I think it was Kavita's house, because it was kind of your leaving due. And anyway, just to kind of bring everybody up to speed. So Jacqueline and I met in California a long time ago, and where she'd moved there from the UK, and she had been there for 6 or 7 years, I think, when I got there. So she was 6 or 7 years ahead of me, and she was a little bit like my rock at the beginning, because it was amazing to have her there, because I had no idea what to expect. And it's so nice to have someone there who kind of takes you by the hand and just says, this is how it works. That's what you do. That's what you don't do. And it was fantastic. And it was pure coincidence, really, because one of my neighbors knocked on the door one day just after we'd moved with lemon cake. And it was just such a nice thing. And I opened my mouth and I sounded very English. And she's like, oh, you've got to meet my friend. And and purely based on that, she introduced us. And then we went to said book club. I went to said book club and I met you and a whole bunch of other lovely ladies. By the way, join a book club if you can. It's wonderful. I can only recommend it. If you want to meet people, book clubs are fantastic. Would
Yeah,
you
well,
agree, Jacqueline?
I totally agree. And it was so funny because my husband would often say it's not a book club, it's a wine club.
Yes, it is, but it's so much more.
Oh, it is, totally.
It's such a good glimpse into what local people are like and what they, what occupies them, because they're not all expats, or hardly any of
No,
them were. And
no.
so it's a perfect way in to kind of see what it's like. And I actually joined a book club here in Austin too, and it was kind of the same thing. Someone reached out and said, do you like to read? And so I'm going to a book club here, and
Oh, okay.
it's been a really nice way to know what Texans are like, because they're quite different.
That's one thing I've not done while I've been here in Connecticut is I've not got a book club yet. I have joined a gardening club and I have joined an international club, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning Mahjong. So that's new on
Wow,
me. So I'm learning
very
that one at the
nice.
moment. Yeah.
So yes, join a club, do something, get out there and meet people. Anyway, let's go back to your expat history, because I know you started quite a while before California. You went to France with your husband for work for a couple of years.
We did. Yeah. We were down in Montpellier.
Yeah, oh,
Very
very,
nice.
very lovely. But that was before you had children, right?
Yeah. Yep. We actually had my son down in Montpellier. He
Mm-hmm.
was born in 98.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ended up coming back. The assignment finished and we came back when he was 5 months old.
Back to
So
the UK.
back to the UK for a couple of years. Yeah, moved house. Obviously the house that we had lots of furniture. We had
Mm-hmm.
the furniture we left in the UK and some cheap MDF furniture that we took with us, as you do. So yes, we had.
And then there was a job offer where the company was offering a post to San Francisco.
It was, yeah. Dave was ending up working in Burlingame for a while, so
Mm-hmm.
and then it ended up down in San Jose eventually. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so we were there for 11 years.
Yes, and when I met you, which was, I think it was 7 years in, I think, and you said that
Yeah.
you'd only originally, the plan was to do 2 years and then go back
Yeah.
to the UK. And you were kind of always at that point where you're like, I don't know how much longer we're going to stay. I think we're going to go back, but maybe not. So it was always that a little bit in limbo.
It is. I mean, 2 years, and then it turned to 3, and then 4, and then eventually it was okay. My husband moved from the UK part of the company, and then just transferred over to the US. So that made it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But every summer we'd go. For the first 2 years, we never went back to the UK because obviously we thought, we're only here for 2 years.
So you're going to make the most of being in California.
Make the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we used to go back for 6 weeks for the kids to see everybody.
And I remember, and this is something, I'd like you to talk about a little bit, because I remember being really impressed and really, I just thought that was such a lovely thing to do, because you said whenever you went back in over the summer, you were kind of putting together a little itinerary for the children, like a little mini history lesson, and to keep that connection with the UK alive, I guess. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that, because it was so lovely.
Well, I wanted the kids to know where they belonged, because it's hard to up and move. I mean, they were only little anyway, so they class California more as home nowadays. But yeah, every time we went home, rather than just spend 6 weeks with the family, we did a history tour, and we actually did I have seen more of the UK living out the UK than actually living in the UK. So down to going down to Portsmouth and going down to see the historic ships, all the way up to Berwick on Sea. Oh yeah, we did the width and breadth of England.
But it's just, and it's something that also that happens to a lot of us when it's almost, because you start looking at it from a, not from a tourist's point of view, but from an outsider's point of view
You do,
almost.
you
And
do.
then you have that desire to explore and to kind of learn more about your home country. Because I had that same experience over the years, and I feel that when I left Germany, I didn't know anything about it, and now I do. It's because I've been away for so long, which is a bit of a paradox, but I think that's what happens. But so has that kind of, do you feel like your children had experienced it like that, so they felt like that was a connection to home?
Yeah, I mean, ironically, it's my eldest is actually doing a history and archaeology degree.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, and
But
she is in the UK, right? She's at
I have
uni.
I have two in university in the UK, yeah,
Hmm.
because we were in the UK system, so they
Yeah.
were very they just fell into the UK university system as well. But I've got one doing the history, which he loves. He's a history buff, and then one doing psychology. But
Hmm.
the history side of things, it's getting to know places in the UK and the history behind it.
Yeah.
And actually English heritage were a big part of that, because they did Roman days, you dressed up as Romans, or
Yeah.
we went to York Minster we did all sorts,
But you never know. I mean, you probably planted a seed there while you did
Most
your tours.
likely,
So
absolutely,
that's fantastic.
most
That's,
likely.
yeah. So then, so you were still you were in California, and then I remember that being quite a sudden decision going back to the UK.
It was. I mean, obviously, every summer we go back, for the holidays, for the summer, we'd obviously say, could we move back to the UK? Blah, blah. Anyway, the opportunity arose that
Hmm.
Dave my husband was offered the position of a job. And we sat down as a family actually and said,
Yeah.
is this something that we want to do? It'd be only for 2 years. So I had a 10th grader and an 8th grader at the time. And then obviously my small one, who was going, how old was he? He was 4th grade.
And you're
So
also, to add to that, so your youngest son was born in California, right? So he
yeah,
was
yeah,
your little American.
yeah.
It
I've
still
got
is.
French. I have. I've got
Yeah.
a French, an English, and an American.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we sat down as a family to discuss this, and they were, it was difficult. They thought about it, and I think just the excitement of, yes, let's go and live there. Obviously, thinking about it and actually doing it are two very different things.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, you know, so we went for it.
Yeah. And in your
And
mind, you had it's 2 years.
yeah, in two
And
years, Ben, who had been, he was in 10th grade, so he would have finished high school. And then Megan, she would have been in
mid high
she'd
school.
finish inter and then move back to California. That was the thought. We didn't know what else we were doing. Yeah,
And then
but
life
things
happens.
change, and then
Things
things
change.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 years turned to 3 and 4 again.
Yeah. So you basically
Uh,
had both your older ones graduate high school in the UK.
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And you made the decision when you left to enroll them in the American school in London, right? And not send them into
Yeah.
the UK
No.
system.
No, because we knew that we were going to come into for 2 years, and
Hmm.
with it being the end of Ben's year, it was difficult,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't have fitted in with the education side to things, and hence we did this. We went to the Tassis, which is in Thorpe, and we lived in Ascot.
Hmm.
So Dave travelled every day down to
Yeah.
Hampshire, because we've got quite a few international schools around that area, where they did APs
Yeah.
and
Well,
the
that's
IB
the
program.
system they were used to.
Totally,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
Yeah. With hindsight, I mean, when we moved back, it was the back in the UK system after all that time, and GCSEs and
Yeah,
the whole
and you go
headache of that.
straight. You go straight into that, and if you're not prepared for it,
You can't do that. No,
no.
it's impossible, and it's one of those things, I think, where international schools or schools where you just there's more of an understanding. I think in general people have
Yeah,
and they know what the IB program is, and teachers are probably more or better prepared to deal with children coming in from different backgrounds, because the public school system, I mean, public school system in the US, obviously public school in England is something else, but
yeah,
state schools, it's people are just not really prepared for international students unless they've had
no,
a special training, and there's only so much you as a parent you can tell them and prepare them, and only so much they can accommodate.
yeah.
And so so I imagine that was probably the best decision for you two
It was at the time. I
at
mean,
the time.
when we went for our look-see, two of the kids came along because one was doing high school exams, so he
Yeah.
couldn't come. But we had an option of two schools, and they chose the school they went to because it was
Yeah.
a smaller school, and
Yeah.
they got to wear a uniform, which
Yeah.
was great.
Oh yes, school uniform.
That was just heaven.
And then basically the 2 years turned into longer than that, and by that point I imagine your older ones especially were very into being in the UK, and then the whole talk about uni and going to uni there. Did they ever kind of consider going to uni or college in the US?
No, we didn't give them an option. It was one of those. It's UK
Yeah.
or nothing, basically. You know. So because we were already in the system with
Yep.
school and
Yeah.
being in, it made it simpler for that.
Hmm. And then your youngest son at that point he was the most American out of all of them. I remember you saying he considers California, that's where he's from,
Oh
and
yeah.
his home. And so then a decision was made to go back to the States. But
Well, yeah. Well, it's the job ends,
mm,
and okay, the next job is available, and it just happens to be on the East Coast this side, so it's totally different.
yeah, that
So,
must be like a different country, really. It's not like going
oh
back to California.
no, no. I mean, the weather this year is not. It's very different. It's not. It's been cold, but not a lot of snow. We've just had
Yeah.
some rain now, but it's very, very odd. Yeah, but it's funny in hindsight that I've left two kids in the UK,
Yeah.
and now we've dropped from a family of five to a family of three,
Hmm.
plus a dog now. We've had a dog join us this time round.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, we had a dog join us along the journey as
along
well.
the journey.
He's been across the pond a couple of times. So uh and yeah, that must be quite um
It's very
difficult
different.
and different too, because that's a double whammy in terms of new situation for the whole family. And because for your older kids, Connecticut's never really going to be home, is it? That's a strange um
It is, but actually, they actually worked this summer, and they've made friends that way and felt a slight belonging. And
yeah,
and that's
that's
the thing.
nice.
If you need that belonging, find.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got their Connecticut driving licenses now, so
Hmm.
they can go off and because where we live, it's not walkable distance anywhere.
Yeah.
So you need the car to get somewhere.
So, well, let's talk a little bit about your kind of re-entry into the various countries. So when you move, because there's always, well, it's what we call culture shock when, you move to a new country, and it's overwhelming, all the newness. And then you go back to your home country, and then you experience reverse culture shock. Did you experience to some degree after 11 years in California and going back to the UK?
I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I did. I really did. I remember sitting out in the back garden of our rented house and thought, what have I done? Because the kids were having a hard time. They're adjusting. We had a friend of the family who lived from California who was over with us over the summer, and then when he went back, I think the reality kicked in,
Yeah.
and that the kids weren't going back to California. here in the UK. So having to deal with the emotions and stresses of I don't want to be here anymore. Can we go back? Or that was
Yep.
hard, and having to deal with that, it's yeah. I turned grayer more than I should have.
Yeah, it was when I first contacted you about this, and I said, so how are you doing, and um how are things, and you just said, oh, I'm just more stress, more tears, and more gray hairs. And I
Yeah.
thought, yes, that's expat living.
Oh
It's not the cocktails at sunset all the time.
no, I
Or
know it has. I mean, it has you have that the plus
it's
side of the experience,
absolutely. I think
but yes,
it's a brutal. The reality is quite brutal. The reality of it, and
it
I think
is
there's nothing that really prepares you for it. And also, every move is different, isn't it? Because of
very
where you are at this point in your life and where everybody else is, and so it's even when you've done it a couple of times, I think it's always a huge upheaval. And the good thing is, the more you do it, the more you at least you kind of and you know the patterns that you
yeah.
fall
You're not
into.
going. You're not. It's not blind anymore. You know that you're
Yes.
going to have your downs, and it's going
Yeah.
to take you a while to find your feet. To I always say every time I've moved, I've had to reinvent myself.
Hmm.
um, because every time when I've been somewhere, I have to.
Yeah.
I don't put on a false persona, but I just have to go out there and literally
Hmm.
reinvent myself and introduce myself again, because it's either where I
Uh-huh.
lived in France, or back to the UK with small children, or back in California when I've got two children. I have to, it's juggling,
Yeah.
and it's a whole different pace.
I think it's that when you just feel, because no one knows you and no one is going to approach
No,
you unless you go out of, you make an effort. And I think that's a big reality check. My older one summed it up one day, and I can't even remember which move that was, whether it was moving here or back to the UK. But she said she just came home from school and she said, I'm just so exhausted because all I want to do is just have a grumpy day. I just want to have a grumpy day. I'm just tired and I just want to sit there and look grumpy and not worry about other people thinking, "Oh, she's grumpy. I don't want to, because I don't know her. She looks like she's grumpy." She's
yeah,
like, "I just want to be able to do that and people getting that and people like, "Oh, she's not normally like that." It's you know you know what I mean.
yeah.
She just kind of felt
Oh,
like
totally. Yeah.
she constantly had to be switched on and have her dazzling smile and her happy personality out on shows so that people would want to be friends with her.
Oh, you
and
totally. It's that persona,
and
isn't it? It's
she
that.
just said, I just want to be grumpy. I just want to
Yeah.
be that, and I want people to be fine with that and get me. And I think that is really that's really it. When you kind of you don't have that luxury when you're
No,
new
you don't.
somewhere.
I mean, inside, you're actually screaming out. You're hurting, you're frustrated, you're sad, you're depressed, everything in there, and then
Mm.
you have to have that covering. Go out
Yeah.
and introduce myself,
Yeah, or go to
and
book club. Go to book club, even though you don't
yeah.
want to talk to anyone, and you don't.
Well,
But
even down to going out shopping,
mhm,
going out and buying stuff, making yourself go and do it, when really you just don't want to do it.
yeah, yeah. I felt though this happened a little bit also when I moved back to the UK. I don't know if you had the same experience, because I kind of thought, oh, I'm moving back to a place where I know a lot of people, where they just live around the corner. Um,
Oh,
but it's not
it's
like they
different.
come running,
No,
and it's just I just felt that, and I think I don't know what I was expecting, but I felt like I had to
you felt
do the same
you,
thing in a way.
in a way, and also you feel like, for us, we moved. We didn't go back to where we left
Yeah,
from. So even though Dave was working back in Hampshire and he saw all those people, I wasn't. I was a mile and an hour and a half away.
yeah.
But you know, often when I went down there, I'd always try and pop in and see people. But um, and I think I felt I probably made the mistake thinking, you know, we'd spoken on the phone, you know, you send emails, um, and you feel like you left. You want to where you left. You want to move on and get together again, and like the old times.
Yeah.
Actually realizing things have changed.
Oh yes.
They've moved on with their lives.
Yeah.
You've actually
Yep.
moved on, and you're now. Oh, I'm glad you're back. Let's make a coffee date, which never happens.
So true.
Okay, so yeah, I just, in a way, I'm glad I didn't move back to where we were, because I think that would have been very difficult. I mean, having to, you know, try and you've moved on, they've moved on, and the friendship is never really there. Although I still have really, really good friends who
I was just going to
I've known them
say,
for 20 years,
yeah.
and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we've done. We have a phenomenal history, and we just move on as if, it was yesterday we saw them.
And now you probably just added a few more that are in different corners of the world, and you realize that you don't actually have to be physically present with them all the time in order to maintain those friendships. And that's one of the things. But it's kind of learning that you lose some along the way.
You do, but you gain them. You gain some.
Yes,
that's the positive side.
That's absolutely the positive side. And I think I'm always hoping that that's something that my children were seeing all the way through, that you can make new friends and you can also keep old friends. And so yeah, it's always my hope that they've learned that, at least.
Yeah. Well, and I think this day and age with social media, you are able to do that with, especially the kids, but probably about 15 years ago that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't speak to anybody that I met in France anymore. I mean, once social media wasn't even available.
Yeah.
So I didn't meet, moved on.
Those things. I mean, I thought the other day I actually spent more time on social media and also, FaceTime and all those things with people than actual physical friends here. So I probably have to go out and make a bit more of an effort, because you need both in your life, really.
Well, you do. I mean, now here, and I have found it difficult this time round. I mean, it's taken me a while.
You've not been there that long, though.
No, I haven't. 18 months, but
Yeah.
it's been a rough year, because I actually lost my nan last January, and I really didn't get over that. Only flying home to the funeral for a couple of days, and it really doesn't allow you to grieve. And so
it's
being somewhere that you're not quite ready to be, or you've not settled in, it just.
And then you question everything. Yes,
you do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm in a better place now, which is good.
Yes, you've got to. But I think it's we carry that with us, and this whole the grieving for, and this is, I mean, grieving for people, but also grieving for places.
Oh yeah.
Moving to new places is always amazing, and you can't help but fall in love with a place that you're at, even though you might not think that initially, but you do, and then you leave again. And so every time there's a piece of you that kind of breaks. I think you leave behind, and you never really, you can't just move on and let that go. So that's always with you. And I think that's kind of the price we pay when we do these things, that we gain so much and all those wonderful memories and places, but it's
you do leave something behind. You do.
There's a lot of sadness, I think, that comes with it. And I think grieving for places and times it's a daily reality for us. And that's something when you first set out, you don't realize.
No, you don't. And I mean, it's lovely to have family close by, but I've not had that for such a long time. So in a way, it was nice to go back to the UK and have that those 4 years of family time. Even though we were 4 hours away, it was still a lot closer than California.
Being in the same time zone, it's like, even though having my family in Germany, it's there was still a plane ride away, but it was an hour's difference in time, and that was easy. And it was just. Yeah, I was glad to be able to get on the plane and just go there for the weekend.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. But the daily life, that kind of your day-to-day living is the same everywhere, you know.
It is, and actually, somebody pointed out, home is actually where your family is. It's not the building; it's the family.
Yeah,
And moving around and upheaval, as long as you've got those core family with you,
yeah.
you're going through the same motions,
Hmm.
whether about whether different, but
Yeah.
they're still the same motions. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you do come through it. And then you look back and thinking, oh gosh, why did I get myself in such
Hmm.
a frenzy about moving? And it is you just settle down. You have that sense of belonging again that you
And you kind of find,
yes.
yes, and it's a lovely thought actually, to think that you can settle in your family and feel settled and calm and rooted as well, even though that might not be a physical place.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I think I struggled with that, when I kind of felt like after 6-7 years in California, I felt like my children needed a place, a physical place that they could feel rooted in. And it completely unsettled me to move again. And then I felt I needed that. And then over the years realized that I think they've not grown up in that big home that the family has lived
Yeah.
in forever. It's just not the case for us. And so we have to find a different way. And I think that sentiment of having your family as your roots is a good one. That's a
I
really.
think I think most expats think like that if they've got their family. I think the expats who have moved
Mhm.
more than once, twice, except I think it doesn't matter where you are as long as you do have those. If you've got your mum and dad rooted, the kids feel settled wherever they are in the world because they know where you are, and they know that they have a roof and it's home. It doesn't matter. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you are. It's
Yeah, you create a stability in something that
yeah.
might just not be a the house that everyone's going to inherit and then you live in for generations. Although, yeah, who knows? Sounds like your children as well. They're in the UK now, but they might go somewhere else too, mightn't they? I mean, that's
Who knows? I mean, I think I think being moving and traveling, and it's it gives them a sense. It doesn't give them, I suppose, itchy feet, but it gives them a sense that, you know what, I can do this. I've done it once or I've done it twice. Yes, I don't like the upheaval and I don't like the change,
Mhm.
but you know what? I know what I can benefit from.
Mhm.
And I think, and that I think that's a great life experience because you know wherever you are, in your job, you're going to come across people who are in and out, and even if you have that connection and a friendship and they disappear, or that work colleague, they know, okay, they've had their experience, you've
Yeah,
done it.
you've
Yeah,
handled
it's not a
something
big.
like this before, and
Yeah.
that's very true. When you came back to the US, obviously that was after Brexit.
Yeah, we moved back in well,
Mhm.
actually, we moved back July 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's roughly the same time that
Yeah.
came back here, and it was after Brexit and Trump was president. And did you did you I mean, we got so much stick for going back here, and it was just well, there's no perfect place, and you just have to.
Well, the grass isn't always greener on either
Mhm.
side, and you just have to take whatever's out there.
When you moved back to the States, obviously Connecticut, as you said, completely different experience to California. Um, was it just kind of was it, oh, we're kind of a feeling of going back to what you know, or did it feel like a completely new place?
I suppose it's a bit of both. Having lived in the US, most of the shops. I mean, seriously, when you see a Trader Joe's, it's like yes, which is really sad. It's those familiar shops that you had
Oh,
in
I
California.
missed Trader Joe's so much when I lived in the UK. Yeah.
Costco wasn't too bad because obviously
Yeah.
Costco's in the UK now. So and it's
Mhm.
so funny. Even at the kids' school, some of the family memories would actually walk around Costco just to get that inch of Americanism. It was so funny to listen to. But yeah, it's you have the same shops, etc., and it's just slightly different because everything here just takes you so much longer to get to, because even though you have the freeways, you have a lot of windy roads to get to, and so you just have to allow yourself plenty of time. Something that's like 18 miles away could take you an hour to get to, that sort of thing. I mean, it's a lovely drive, but that's the bit that frustrates me. I just want to get there and back. But yeah, you've got the Four Seasons this side. You don't get.
I was going to say it's probably a little
California.
bit more similar to the UK in terms of weather, and have a proper autumn and winter and that whole.
You do, and that's it. I mean, the autumn, the fall is actually stunning, because obviously New England with all the maples and I mean at the moment they're just up the road, the maple syrup, they're tapping the trees with a maple, which is brilliant, just to see.
That actually sounds really nice, and it's probably a nice experience. We've always said that we've done California, now we're in Texas, so we need to get to the East Coast at some point, just so we have the full experience.
You have to come up for vacation up here in the autumn.
Oh yes, I would absolutely love to. Okay, let's talk a little bit about friendships. How did you find making friends again when you moved back to the US, when you moved to Connecticut? I mean, from my own experience, that part of moving gets harder and harder as we get older, especially when you don't have young children. It always seems to be much easier to get to know people when you have young children. But how was that for you?
Whole different ballgame. So
I felt exactly the same, and I wonder if that's that kind of when you lose that community, that sense of community. Sometimes I wonder if it's you experience it because your children are younger and you're involved in what they're doing on a daily basis, and you bond over that with other people in the same position, and then you have that sense of community. It's almost like you have people, they're all bringing up your children with you in a way.
You do.
And I think that's a special time in your life. And then when as they get older and you lose that, and they don't want you, they don't want you to be there and to be at school or helping out, or I don't know, they it's almost like they don't want you to create that community. It's like because they want to do their own thing, and then you move, and it's so hard to get back into something where maybe there's another sense of community amongst people who've had that, but you're the newcomer, and it's just much harder as the kids get older, I think.
You do, and in a way you feel like you're trespassing, because when you, especially around here, I mean, there's families who have been here for many moons. I'm a new person. I mean, there are quite a few English people around here, and I joined the international club, but I'm the youngest one there, and there is no, for me at the moment, there is no community. Nobody knows who my kids are. Nobody knows who I am. I mean, for the families who are around here who work and
they're doing their,
they're having pizza joint, they turn around, you go to a pizza joint, hello, how are you doing, to my friend, my son's friend, and Luke doesn't know him, he just goes along with him. But there is the sense of community. It starts when the kids are little, and that's, it truly does.
And I think that's when I said earlier that I felt like I needed to give my kids roots. I think that was part of it, where I thought I need to get back to being with people who've known my children from when they were really, really little, that whole, so that they know all of us and the whole of us. And I think that's the hard thing when you move and you disrupt that process, and then it's hard to get that back. And then you have to find a sense of community in other ways. I think you have to probably just step away from the looking at it from a family point of view, and it becomes more about you and what you are doing. And it's to get your head around that when you've been on this journey all this time, and and it's a hard one.
It is. I do. But you know what? And even if my kids, when they go back, if they go back to California, if they walk into body, I mean, obviously they've changed, but yet my kids still know that parent, and they will turn around and say hello to them,
Mm-hmm.
and surprise.
Yeah.
I'm not 4 foot anymore.
No, it's true. So they have that. So maybe it's something that is rooted in a certain period of your life that you experience that. And I think especially starting school is a big one. Starting school
Yeah.
together with others. It's a really big kind of thing. And then you sometimes I look at people back home in Germany, and where the my friends, they're still there, or they've gone back to where we grew up, and bringing up their children there, and you kind of the children hang out together, and it's like it's lovely. It's really lovely. And sometimes on when you have a bad day, you kind of think, oh, what am I doing? you know
Well, it's and that's why I think at the moment, with the kids being in the UK, they're able to go to family events, which is great, because I really
that's
do want
yes.
them to have that
And do they have
experience.
cousins? And
Yeah,
yeah. See,
yeah.
that's
So
just fabulous. Yeah.
they were up there this weekend, for my niece's first birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad they went up there.
Right. I'd love to talk a little bit about accents, because this is one thing I'm really curious about, especially in the when it's about English native speakers, because there's something that happens to your accent when you move to a different region or different country. Even if your language stays the same, but your environment changes and the accent changes. So yeah, it's just fascinating to me. But do they have I mean, I guess now they have a very British accent. Did that change, or how was because that's the thing also, that you just don't know when you move between English speaking countries, what happens to your accent, because it's so different in every family.
So Ben has a very traditional English accent, um, and Megan, she still has her American accent, and it's funny because her English friends ask her to say certain things in American, and she says, "I'm not a performing monkey."
Oh yeah,
but
I'm familiar with that.
and I've got and then Luke has he has his American accent, but there's certain things all my kids say. I'm not a mom, I'm a mum, and we pronounce, they say water. So so sometimes if Luke's at somebody's house and he says it, and sometimes he has to repeat himself by taking off the English accent and saying water.
That's
the American
funny.
way. It is funny, because you do, it's even if you go to Chipotle, I say tomato, and they look at you, it's like tomato, please.
I can't do it. The kids always crack up when we go through the drive-through from time to time, at the burger place here that Frankie loves, and she'll make me order because I'm just driver's side, and I could not say it the American way. I can't even say it now. I just can't. And then they will. Her friends always crack up, and sometimes just for fun, I put on an American accent, and sometimes I do that for fun anyway, just to see. And sometimes I get away with it, but the kids crack up, and that's how far it's got. But I have to be on my own. I can't be with other. So the other, when we were in Tahoe, I was on the lift, and you know how Americans, they just cannot not talk to you, right? You get on the ski lift, and you sit down, and the minute you sit down, and someone's like, "Hey, how's your day?" and you just have a chat. And so I was on my own. Everyone else had abandoned me, and so I was like, oh, here we go. And I did my best California, and yeah, the guy was like, oh, so are you from here? And I was like, oh, bingo. Still got it. I nailed it. Oh, that was so funny. And I came off the lift, I was laughing, and everyone was like, what's happened? And I was like, guess what? And they were like, no, never. Yeah, so I can't get away with it. They'll rip me to shreds. But it's funny. We
Well,
love all that.
I have trouble with Siri.
Oh, yeah.
Siri
Oh,
doesn't listen
yes.
to me.
No. Yeah.
So if I put on an accent, maybe, but it just does not like my accent whatsoever.
Retrain Siri. But I just love that because it's really different in each family. And so we have, when we moved to the UK, I mean, Frankie went from American girl to, she has that like home British accent that she
She can
speaks.
switch.
Yeah, so she's always
Yeah,
done that. When she's with her friends, she's American, and when she was home, she'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
English. But
My kids got.
then moving to Kent, she added Southeast to that and did it, I mean, to perfection. So
Do you not also think that was a way to be accepted? You know,
oh yeah,
she's a new girl.
completely,
Yeah,
completely. And it's such a decision to make too, I think. And I mean, some people are just good at accents and doing that, and some
yeah,
people just stay completely who they are and don't care. And when we moved back to the States, and Elise said, I can't go back to being American. I can't say things in an American accent anymore now. I'm British. So she's always more English with her English. So that's, I don't even know the right words to explain it, but she's always been, that's part of.
that's who you are. It's part of who she is.
Hmm.
Ben was like that. Ben
Hmm.
was like that at all. You know, all through elementary school, he
Hmm.
was adamant he had an English accent.
Hmm.
He goes to middle school, the American accent comes in, and we did persuade him that if he went down to go back to his English when he went to high school.
That's so
But no,
funny.
he's definitely. I mean, he can switch, and you know, very similar, but he does have his. He's got a very nice English
Yeah,
accent.
it's amazing. I've always said just keep it up, because you never know. You might be an actor, or come in handy. You can roll them both out
Yeah,
and not be completely mixed up
no.
like me. And but it's one of those. Okay, Jacqueline. So we're getting to the end of our chat today. And I always like to finish my episodes with a little recipe or tradition. Is there anything that you really miss from the UK that you can't live without, or that you just you like to recreate? Anything that you do in your family, when you get homesick, or when you just feel like you want to feel that connection?
Oh gosh, yeah. We just so often. Sometimes I make Cornish pasties, which is and with gravy, and then
That's
yeah.
nice.
Or you know, obviously good old Trader Joe's. They do fish sticks. So to have a fish finger sandwich, that's just like heaven as well. You know, you think,
Yeah.
oh yeah, just fancy one of those.
It's funny when you get those cravings. And my
You
husband
do.
was making a cheese sandwich this morning, and he said, "Oh, I need Branston pickle." He was just like looked at the cheese, and he's like, "Something's missing. I need some Branston pickle." And so we have to import that from time to time.
So when the kids come over, they always bring a bit of shopping for us, so which is nice. So you know, obviously custard creams or bourbons, hobnobs. So when you do get that uh, depressing moment of oh, I just need a cup
Little
of tea
fix.
and
Yeah.
a cup of tea and a custard cream, yeah. Or the chocolate cupboard we used to have. And even we had one in California as well. We had the sweet cupboard, you know, lots of Cadbury's in there.
I love that. So only for special occasions.
Oh, totally. Well, do you know, it's so funny because every time we go back home and we're in either, you know, Sainsbury's or Tesco's, and literally you go and buy all the chocolate and the biscuits, and the cashiers look at you as if to say, well, that you really are eating healthily, aren't you? No, we're exporting it, don't worry.
But it's just also part of the fun, I think. I mean, we always bring back loads of goodies from here for people over in the UK, especially when the children were younger. They were really into all these weird and disgusting
Yeah,
things. But
Lucky Charms was one of them for a
oh,
while. We had to bring that back. It's like, no, I'm not bringing that back because we could actually get that in the Sainsbury's where we were in. Um,
mhm.
in Ascot. So
it is almost like it is becoming more it's much more easy now to find things. And it's like
you
Christmas
can,
time,
yeah,
I go to the world market here, and I can get
yeah.
get a lot of things, German things too, which is nice. But it's nothing beats something that's, has just been imported by someone who's coming to visit. I think that's always the best.
It's the tea bags.
It's the tea bags. Yes.
Tea bags.
Yes.
The tea bags.
Oh, that's the best. We had a friend come over last year for a couple of weeks, and he actually did some work on the house while he was here, and I think half his suitcase was tea bags. He's like, I can't rely on American tea. I need to bring my tea.
Well, we've just found some on Amazon, and we've had them delivered, good old Yorkshire tea, but they're single cups and they keep bursting in the, so you get the last dregs of the tea leaves. It's like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah,
so
we import our tea too. Yeah, always.
Yeah.
We have a big stash. So, but I like the idea of the sweetie cupboard or the chocolate cupboard. I think that's a lovely idea, and for people knowing it's there for the times that you need it. It's just
I know I have to. I have to. I should put a lock on it, because Luke just. It's like you go in. He's like, "What are you eating?" Or I find rabbits in his pockets, and it's like, seriously, these have to last. It can't be eaten all at once.
Till next time.
For the next import.
Yeah, lovely. Well, it was really nice talking to you and
Lovely
catching up, and
get
a bit of a perspective, and someone who's been through it all. It's I think it's good to hear that we all go through those things, and we all definitely have a few more grey hairs.
We do, and we survive
these days from it, and we survive and kind of pick ourselves up again.
We do.
So yeah, it's been really nice talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So that's it from me for today. It was really nice to talk to Jacqueline, and it was actually really, really lovely to listen to the interview a few months after recording it. I had forgotten how deep our conversation went and how much I can take from it to help me get through the current situation. And I hope you find something in there too. So for now, let's stay safe. Keep wearing those masks. Be kind to each other and to yourselves. And see you next time.